clear, coming through Geocache talk. A voice on the line I hear, coming through Geocache talk.
Ready for an adventure that welcomes everyone? Dive into Cache Odyssey. Cache Odyssey is 6 fully accessible geo tours where every geocache is designed for everyone, regardless of their abilities. Each hidden cache tells a unique story, bringing people together on a journey of discovery. So, whether you're a seasoned geocacher or a new adventurer, get ready to experience the thrill like never before.
Hey, Geocache Talk Network fans! If you love what we do and want to support the shows, we've got 2 great ways to help keep the adventure going. You can join us on Patreon at patreon.com/geocachetalk for exclusive perks, or if you prefer a one-time boost, buy us a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/geocachetalknetwork. Every bit of support helps us bring you more geocaching fun, stories, or shows. So whether it's a membership or a coffee, we appreciate you being part of making the Geocache Talk Network operate. Thanks, and happy caching.
Have you subscribed to FTF Magazine yet? FTF Magazine is the #1 geocaching magazine available. It is a quarterly magazine that you can be part of. Submit your geocaching milestones and adventures to be published. FTF Magazine is also interactive with puzzles to solve and the hunt to find Spartacus. If you can solve the puzzle or find Spartacus, then you will be entered in to win a special pack tag. Every new subscription, you will receive a special swag pack. Subscribing is easy. Just visit FTF's website, ftfgeo.com. Don't miss out and subscribe today.
Logwork, the creators of the fantastic logbook, made with genuine write-in-the-rain paper. The logbook's designed for the micro-containers of the present and future, geared towards the hider who'd rather go caching than doing cache maintenance. Find them at logwork.com. That's logwerk.com.
Calling all geocachers. At artedcrafted.com, we create unique apparel designed by geocachers for geocachers. From custom t-shirts to personalized mugs, our gear lets you express your passion. Stand out at your next event with artedcrafted.com. artedcrafted.com. Gear up for your next geocaching adventure.
All right. Well, big thanks to our new patrons, Buzz82, Captain Math, Data Wrangler, Old Bowler, and Lost Kin. Wow, we've had a bunch come on. That's great. And of course, thank you to all our patrons for keeping this show on the air. All right. Well, let me bring in my co-host and our special guests for tonight. And there they are. Hey, everybody.
Hey.
Hey. So I am so excited to have Sonny and Sandy on tonight. And I'm always excited to see John. And of course, Jesse, he's always there.
Yeah, I'm just here.
Yeah, we know Gary. We know.
We got a lot to cover, so let's jump right into this. News tonight.
Yeah, did you know, Gary, we're actually over 1,000 favorite points on Cache Odyssey?
That is so awesome, man.
That's pretty cool.
I mean, how incredible is that? We launched it December 29th, a cache in each state on this one, and over 1,000 points already. And it's just like everything is picking up. And I got to tell people, I got to give a big shout out to Po Ann.
Yep.
Po Ann, I don't know if you guys know, she actually completed the Northeast region just yesterday, believe it or not. And here's a picture of Po Ann, her husband, and I celebrating their accomplishment with some pickled pizza on that front.
It was good up until that point. I was impressed up until that point.
Jesse, don't knock it till you try it, man. Don't knock it till you try it. I got a feeling you're going to like it on that one. But Po Ann, believe it or not,
is she the second one?
She's the Northeast, and she's actually at the top of the leaderboard. I think she has 26 states.
Oh my gosh. It's only been since December, like the very end of December.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you.
Yeah, we're only 2 months in.
Determination. I mean, coming up to the frozen northern tundra, from Georgia, it's just like she's got her eye on the prize, man. No doubt about that.
It's amazing that cachers travel so much. You see how much they travel
She does.
You know, in a few months,
got
people have hit
26.
26 states. That's a lot.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'll bring it up real quick. So appreciative to retired guy for
Mhm.
creating this crazy leaderboard thing, which is awesome because it's something that I'm just glad he came up with. There's the leaderboard. And yeah, Poanne, 26 finds. She has one geo tour completed. Captain Math not too far behind. He's got 17. Unimoggers has 18. Yukiana, who we had on the show, she's the owner of Maine, and there's a few people that have completed geo tours also, which is cool to see.
Absolutely.
It'll be interesting to see when somebody gets to starts clocking up the tours, because it takes a lot to finish a geo tour. Not like a regular.
It does. When
It's
you're
not like
talking
a regular.
multiple states, that's an accomplishment that a lot of people don't do in their whole geocaching career, is go to all the states, right? Not everybody does that at all. And you got people that have hit 26 since December. That's
26
that's
states.
wild.
Incredible.
Well, amazing. 26, especially ones, and all the bad weather that we've had up north. And it's like,
Yeah.
incredible.
And every bit of it just kind of draws attention to the cause that we're, trying to push. And they're putting out pictures, they're putting out stuff on social media, and the accessible geocaches that are they're awesome and creative. All those pictures are just drawing attention to that cause. So, how can you go wrong with that? So super happy about it.
Yeah. We updated last week about Jasmer. The Jasmer coins were getting remade, the ones that we purchased. So that's being updated. As soon as I have the new ones, I'll put them back on the store.
Yeah.
For people
get
to
them out to
purchase.
everybody.
Yeah, we'll get it fixed.
Yeah.
And then last week we talked about this.
The adventure of a lifetime is setting sail. Join us on an unforgettable cruise to Sweden, where geocaching meets breathtaking Nordic landscapes. Alongside our friends from the Geocache Talk Network, we'll explore hidden treasures, swap stories with fellow geocachers, and unlock the secrets of Sweden's most scenic caches. But that's not all. This trip is extra special. We're on a mission to find the legendary fourth loop of the Jasmer Challenge, GC4D, the Match Stash. This is the oldest currently active geocache in Sweden and the second oldest in Europe. It is still being maintained by its original owner. From sunrise over the Baltic to the thrill of discovering hidden gems, every moment is a new adventure. Pack your phone and trackables, bring your sense of adventure, and get ready for an epic journey. This is geocaching like you've never experienced before.
So if you're interested, and we've had a lot of people who have showed interest, which is great, we are starting to track that information. Again, we don't have a lot of detail other than what you probably just saw. But if you have any interest and you're listening or watching, you can email us at geocachetalk@gmail.com, and we will track that and put you in the list of interested folks. We have a lot of interested people, and we'll get you all the information as we track this going forward, heading toward. It's a ways off, but then again, as Jesse said,
it is, but it's not, right?
We
You
have
have
to
to plan
plan ahead.
international passports and all the other stuff. And, you got to insurance, all the stuff that you got to do, flights and stuff. It's a huge trip, but it comes very quickly. And the short version of this is, we thought, hey, let's go safety in numbers, right? Let's get people together, go all at the same time.
Yep.
We were thinking, hey, maybe 30 people will be interested in this. It's a huge trip. We're thinking it could be closer to 100 people going all together. That's like a mega on a boat. Not a mega. No, thank you.
No, thank you.
No part of a mega. Don't want to be in part of that. However, when you have 100 people, the cruise line pays attention, and they will do events for you, and they will get you together, and they will make sure you're getting to your places. That's a bigger chunk of people. And you don't have to worry about, are we going to be in port long enough to get the cash that we went around the world to get? We're all going to go get it together. We're going to meet up with people locally. So it's going to be a that's going to be awesome. I know it's not until 2026, so we don't want to get excited yet, but we're going to build that up. We're going to know local people when we get there. We're going to have events. We have a big, I mean, you're going to have 100 people from America or wherever we're from, well, all over the world really, showing up to a local event in town. You know, legally it can't be at the port, right? So we got to have a little ways, and meeting somebody that we've probably been talking to for 6 months on the podcast. So it's going to be a trip of a lifetime. I'm excited about it. And I hope tons of people come that want to, like, you know, I want to get there, but I don't want to go by myself. Well, guess what? We're all going by ourselves together. So it's going to work out. Yeah. It's going to be fun. I think it's going to be really fun.
It is. And I mean, people just keep on spreading the word. I know I was at an event on Saturday, and the guy standing next to me, he goes, I want to do my fourth Jasmer loop. I got 3 caches from August of 2000. But he goes, all the ones in the United States. And I said, well, have you heard about the Sweden cruise that we're doing? And he goes, no. He goes, that sounds awesome. I'd love to do that, you know?
Well, and if you've ever been on a cruise, like sometimes you get set with people that are like, you know, it's on their anniversary or it's their birthday. We may have a table of 100 geocachers sitting all together. For once, we're not going to be the weirdos in the corner, the geocachers. It's going to be like, oh, that huge group is the geocachers. It's going to be funny. So, you know, and scavenger hunts on the boat and all kinds of fun stuff. So that's the advantage of having a group, right? So it's going to be a big fun thing, not a mega. I'm just going to be clear. We don't want to, this is not a mega event. This is a group of fun people getting together to go and do a once in a lifetime trip. So, but that's not for tonight anyway. So let's get to what we're really here for tonight. Speaking
of tonight, let's dive in. So, so great to have Sonny and Sandy on. I got to meet them in person. We'll talk. There'll be, unfortunately, some references to 14er Geo Woodstock in Colorado. Sonny may not be thrilled about us talking about.
That was memorable. For many reasons, including the 2 ambulance rides I went on. But no, it was, you know, other than that,
that was my first time actually get to meet him. And Geocache Talk was like in show 2, and I was just so thrilled to be next door to them. I was definitely feeling the fanboy
vibes. Celebrity vibes.
Because that was the same trip. I got to meet Joshua and some other folks, and it was like, oh my gosh, I'm meeting them for in real time, and it was great. So we'll talk about that. But so let's. As you're coming up on 900 episodes,
900 shows. Yeah, it's insane.
As you start to look back over the course of those 900 episodes, and we'll get to the memorable moments here in a minute, but give us sort of the evolution. How did this whole thing? I know we talked before about and this sort of gets into the name Podcacher, but tell everybody, if you would, Sonny, and Sandy, tell us about how it kind of the evolution of it beginning.
Yeah. Well, so around 2005 was around the beginning of podcasting in general, right? Mm-hmm. And I've always been a geek, always, and it just thanks. And just curious about different things. And so I heard about, podcasting and started to learn how to do it, and realized that people from all around the world with just equipment and technology that I had access to, we could get our voices out there. Right. And so I just wanted to do a podcast. So I came home one day and I was like, hey, honey, I think we should do a podcast, because there's all these podcasts about different subjects. And I really didn't have a focus on what it was going to be. And then I just told her I wanted
just wanted to do one.
Yeah.
He didn't know what it was about.
Really?
I said, well, how about geocaching?
Yeah, because we've been, and for those of you who know our story, geocaching is very much tied into how I met Sandy, how I proposed to her, and all that. That's a whole other story. But because of that, geocaching is a big part of our relationship and whatnot. So she suggested it, and I said, "Oh yeah, that'd be a good topic."
This is 1 year into our marriage. We had
Yeah,
just gotten
yeah.
married the year before.
In 2004.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
And we literally, this is it.
Wait, here's some show and tell for you.
We
There we go.
started with this little iRiver recorder and this little
Nice.
mic. It used to have a little thing on it. And we sat on the couch in our living room and we passed this back and forth.
This was the entire of Podcacher Studios.
It's all podcaster equipment.
This
That
was
was
all of Podcacher Studios. And
That's
we
so
brought
awesome.
this on a trip. Like this was in Kazakhstan with us,
Uh-huh.
and out to
Wow.
France. But this was it. And so we started doing shows and just and then realized that there is a lot to talk about there. But it's evolved over time. I mean, it started on
A
the
lot.
couch.
Yeah.
Now we have actually it's behind that.
Behind this
Yeah,
curtain.
all the good stuff behind you, all the equipment.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
we actually have an on-air sign that Daryl was the one who gave us that
Oh.
sign.
Yeah.
And so there's a studio I built right behind us with mics
Yeah.
on stands and
Muffle
a
it, to muffle the
soundboard.
sound, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
very cool.
So
Well, we talked before the show, or Jesse mentioned something, and I was completely in agreement that I love Podcacher. It is so slick and perfect, and
Mhm.
I know clean. It's like, oh, it's just such a nice way, And then the goofy guys come along, and we do this crazy show, and who knows what'll happen? I mean, John may, he may fall out of his chair in a minute, and it'll be normal. We'll just sort of keep going, and
It happens. It happens.
It happens at least once a show,
Right.
but that's the appeal, right? It keeps your audience on the edge, like what's going to happen next?
Yeah.
Right. There's the
it's-
live shows, right? Like your guys, and
Yeah.
you get to interact live.
Yeah, that's great.
With your audience. And
And
we've gone the different route, but we are proud of I'm proud of Sonny and what the good
Yeah.
production quality that he brings.
Mhm.
Some of the music that he's created and that we use on the
Mhm.
show. That's kind of evolved over the years too.
It's just a different flavor. Yeah.
Yeah,
And,
no, it's
and
perfect.
y'all decided early on kind of the theme that you wanted for it, and you've kind of kept it professional and evolved as time goes on. And there weren't a lot, like when y'all got started, there weren't many, if any, really podcasts about geocaching
Yeah.
happening. There really weren't.
Right. Yeah, there were a few, and I can there was this guy who Ice and Rye, and he had something to do with dogs. And
So
then
that was video though.
that was video.
Yeah.
But there was a couple, but they dropped off. And we can talk about the perils of podcasting in a little bit.
For sure.
But they dropped off, and so we're the last lone survivors that haven't been voted off the island.
In the early years.
Yeah, we I know, and I've shared before too, but y'all were the ones that got me. Y'all were the first geocaching podcast that I ever heard of. There was one that died off, and it's been reinvigorated or whatever over time. But the Chicago geocaching podcast, for anybody that even remembers that one, it was years and years ago.
Yep.
Very different from what you guys brought to the table, right?
Yeah.
Like that was
Yeah,
a
yeah,
little
yeah.
less family
Mark was on there,
friendly.
yeah.
You were bringing the family friendly vibe in.
That's right.
Like, it was different, right? And I loved it. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying anything bad about that, but like the family friendly, because it started, and we talked many years ago. It was me and my little kids, right? Like getting into geocaching. So we needed a family friendly version of it. And you kind of got me into podcast as well. Like I was like, yeah, podcasts are out there, and they're about some interesting stuff. And then, oh wait, there's one about geocaching, this really nerdy hobby I just found out about. Awesome.
Yeah.
And then hooked from there, right? So but yeah, and that was so many years ago, which is just it's amazing that y'all have kept it up. So that's awesome.
And it is worldwide. We have people that listen and watch this show this worldwide. And Kitty Catch is on tonight. She is in Australia, but she mentions that Podcacher was her first podcast, and she's been listening for years. So a lot of fans. You got a lot of fans on tonight or in the chat room. Scott's along, which is great. So we have so we have several people that are excited to have y'all on. Hodag saying it's good to see him instead of just hearing the voices, and that is kind of nice.
Yeah.
Excuse me, I do not have a beard.
That's right. I was going to say that. Give Sandy some credit. She does not have a beard.
No,
Everybody else
beard.
does, but
yeah. So it's fun to see who's on tonight to see.
Well, speaking of beards, that is one change that's happened. My beard has gotten grayer.
Yes,
for the last 20 years. So when I first started Podcacher, my beard was not quite as gray.
No.
So.
My camera is very generous.
Yeah.
You can't see it, but there's a lot of gray in my beard. I don't know why it doesn't show up on screen. It's
you got a filter on there?
It looks just red.
Yeah, it doesn't show up really well, so I'm loving my camera.
Nice.
But I didn't put like the young person filter on it, but it filters out all the gray in my beard, and I'm very thankful for it. So,
hey Jesse, can you do me a favor and send me the model of that camera?
Yeah, I know. Yeah. No, I cannot. I gotta look a little younger on the show. What are you talking about?
Come on, help somebody out on this one. Yeah. Well, Sonny, I got to ask you a very important question. I've been dying to ask for a long time. With episode 900, do you start to like LPCs or not?
Oh no.
No hesitation.
It's never gonna happen.
No, it's never gonna happen. I don't understand what I mean. I do. I understand the appeal, but no, that will not change. We talked earlier about my eclectic nature of food and other things.
Very eclectic.
I was just introduced to pickle pizza apparently, which I now had to track down in San Diego.
No.
You have to.
But
it's like
LPC, no, I don't think I will ever acquire that taste.
So you're saying you were not a fan of LPC Talk that came on April 1st one year?
That was so good. That was so good. It was actually touching. I was like, wow.
That was in your honor. Come on now. That was
Yeah. No, that was great. I love that. Yeah.
What is funny though, I do attribute this to Sonny, but I have found a few LPCs where people went out of their way to actually make it something other than like WV Tim's is obviously there's I don't want to give it away, but his is completely different. It's not what you think it is.
Yeah, that one's awesome actually.
Our little group found one recently that was like that, where we're standing at the LPC all looking at each other going, huh? And then somebody went, wait, there's probably another way in. And it's like, oh no, we all blew it. We're standing here like idiots, like we've never cached before.
Yeah, if that ever does happen and it's clever or there's something unique about it, I mean, I'll give credit where credit's due.
There are some we've mentioned on the show before.
So few.
Yes, but in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah. So, what happens is we'll get closer to ground zero and we'll be inside the car, and then there's this moment where you're driving into the parking lot or whatever, and I'm just like, oh no. I just pull the car over, and she goes out and she goes gets it, and
But it's funny, and I've been out caching with many people over the years, and multiple times, not even related to shows or anything else, and just in common nomenclature, I've heard people say, "Don't tell Sonny," and they're going to find an LPC. Totally not talking about podcast. It's like become part of the normal thing to go, don't tell Sonny, but we got this LPC.
And I hate to say it. I think anybody in the geocaching community, when you think of Sonny, you think of LPCs in a way.
Yeah, so you're kind of tied to it in the negative
way.
Oh,
absolutely.
Yeah, and I think, was it you, Sonny, or somebody else said friends don't let friends hide LPCs? Was that you?
I think you did.
Yes.
Probably so.
No, and it's in a way it's kind of endearing. It's funny, to get razzed about it. But a while back, somebody sent us. It's about this big. It's a lamppost with a removable. Like he made it himself. It's about this tall. It's up in her bedroom.
Yeah, a little tiny.
It's a lamppost with
skirt
and a tiny little skirt, and it's stuff like that. Or the fact that when we have visitors from other countries, where the lampposts are designed differently. Yeah, that's one of the first things they bring up. They're like, "Oh, Sonny, let's go find a lamppost." I'm like, oh my gosh, that's really what you want to do? Like from Australia or from Germany?
Yeah.
I know I'm forever tied to it, and it is what it is.
Yes. Well, what are some things that come to mind when you think back over all these years, as far as for the show? And we'll get I want y'all to get into like some highlights, but as far as just doing the show, y'all, I know obviously at this point you've got kind of a routine,
Yeah.
what nights you record, what nights you do things, but I mean, other than when there are obviously times when things get interrupted, but um do you still have the same sort of routine, I guess, over all this time, where you're looking X number of, like, how far in advance do you have shows ready in the can, or do you have, how many shows do you have that are sort of, oh, let's keep that and we'll use that in 6 weeks? I mean, or so do you still have sort of the same routine as far as your lead up to each show?
So I would say that it really varies.
Okay.
Sometimes we're like totally scrambling last minute. We have to get a show out. What are we going to put on it? And
Right.
other times, we're planning ahead, especially when there's travel involved, or, we're doing interviews and we kind of plan where the interviews are going to show up. We have a whiteboard over here in the office that I kind of map out the show numbers, and kind of when I know things that are coming up, I put on there.
Okay.
We also have, documents and the spreadsheet that we keep of show ideas, either interviews that we want to do or content that people have sent to us or that we found
Mhm.
ourselves. So that's kind of where we go each week,
Right.
to kind of figure out. But I wouldn't say we have them like mapped or planned many weeks into the future.
Okay.
Yeah, one thing you may or may not realize from just listening to the podcast, Sandy and I have different skills that some overlap, but others don't, and they really complement each other. So Sandy's very organized in the whiteboard and the spreadsheet and all that. I mean, I'm a technical person, but it's just like we have different attributes that we bring to the table,
Sure.
right? And so one of the things that we do is we keep track of different topics, so that as we can pick them off from like a backlog. We get a lot of topics that come to us now, which is different from when we first started.
Yeah.
A lot of topics come to us from our listeners. I mean, a lot. And so the ones that are timeless, we can set aside and they still bring value, right?
Right.
But then the ones that are, time sensitive, we got to get that out there as quickly as possible.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So, have you even fallen into a routine as far as when you go to an event? Do you plan the interviews you're going to do at an event, or do you sort of have some planned and some where you're like, oh, we ran into so and so. Hey, do you have a couple minutes? Can we do a quick interview? Or how do those usually go?
I'd say both.
Yeah, I'd say both. That's a good question. I mean, it depends on, again, the event. Typically, we want to be able to touch base with the organizers because people are interested in that.
Sure.
A lot of times, like when we did the interview with Dave Ulmer, that was absolutely spontaneous.
Right.
That came about because we were at a Yuma event and it was the Can of Beans guy.
Mm-hmm.
And he comes up to us and he says, "Hey, Dave Ulmer's over there." And we're like, "Whoa, let me get my recorder out.
Grab my microphone."
Yeah, so those are nice, spontaneous times, and that happens quite a lot of times. Our listeners will come up and introduce us to another geocacher.
Sure.
And they say he's got a really great story, and yep, that's exactly what happens. It turns out that way. But so it's a mix of planned things. Like we definitely want to talk to this, and certainly if somebody from Geocaching HQ is there, to try to get some behind the scenes stuff. But then the spontaneous stuff often happens because people bring us great content and people.
Yeah,
I just have to ask too, after 900 episodes, and I mean, and that's awesome. Congratulations to you guys, because I mean that's something like huge, right?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Is there a topic like in those 900 you've wanted to do for so long, but just like you haven't done yet, or you're just like kind of like a white whale episode?
Oh gosh, that's a great question. I hadn't thought about it. I mean, we've covered over so many topics. Sword swallowers, Mount Everest. Undersea. I don't know. I mean,
something we haven't covered.
I mean,
that's something people ask us, like, how can you, especially if they're not geocachers,
Right.
like, how could you have been talking about geocaching for 900 shows? And honestly, when we started, I thought, he'll get over this little kick that he's on in 6 months, right? We never, ever dreamed that we'd be going this long. Or that there would
I'm
be
familiar with that.
so much to talk about. And you guys as podcasters too. It's amazing how much there is to talk about.
Yeah.
Y'all haven't just been involved with that. I mean, we're talking about history, right? Like, this is the history of the game. And I don't remember the exact details, but it's as we get into like highs and lows, right? That's what we want to talk about, sure. But worldwide flash mob.
Yeah.
Like, I was involved with that in the past.
Yep.
Did you guys, and I don't remember the exact details. Y'all were key to this.
Oh yeah.
How did you get involved with that? How did that happen? Where did that come from?
Yeah, no, that was entirely it.
That was huge.
We made it up.
We made it up.
And totally made it up.
That was us. And then we got the domain for GCWWFM, but we made it up, and it was on our show. I mean, see, that's the cool thing about podcasting and being creative. It's like, hey, let's do this thing and let's see how it works out. Well, gosh, the feedback we got from the Worldwide Flash Mob was so tremendous. We did it another year and another year.
Yep.
But that really, the inception of that came from attending a mega event.
Right.
So we had attended a mega event, and all of us hopefully have experienced a local pizza event, where people hang out. But the mega event was something different. I was like, wow, okay, so they've got so I wanted to do the polar opposite of that. Instead of having a multi-day mega event, I wanted to have it as short as possible. And I'd heard about flash mobs before, so I put that together. I'm like, hey, let's have a geocaching flash mob where instead of having this event meal where people are lining up at a tent to get their plates of food, let's give out Hershey's Kisses as the event meal. And let's have it last 15 minutes, have a prize giveaway at the end, and let's
do something crazy.
Yeah.
Like flash mob.
Something that allowed geocachers to be the hidden exhibitionists that they really want to be. They want to get out there and be out in the public and do something silly that's harmless. And so flash mobs allowed us to do that. And
the first time we did it, we just talked about it on the show. So there was, I don't know, maybe a dozen other people that did one too. And then from there, it just grew. And then countries. And then there was
like crazy.
Yeah.
Well, there was a window of time when Geocaching HQ did souvenirs.
They gave souvenirs for us.
And they promoted it and everything. And then they kind of got to a point where like, we're not going to do that anymore. Yeah. And so of course that was the time when it exploded. I mean,
Oh gosh.
I mean,
like in Germany and Switzerland.
Events and like.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Hey, I was one of them. I was a registered flash mob host. Yeah, I did it as well.
You're a flash mob vet.
Yes, right. Did you? So when you came up with that idea, and it always shocks us too, like we've come up with a few ideas that have taken off or whatever, but when you came up with the idea of the flash mob, did you have any idea that it was going to take hold in the geocaching world that big? I mean, like any part of your mind?
No. But I've had a lot of ideas that have just crashed and burned. I mean, lots.
We have to trust us,
right?
Yeah,
and
we have to.
We'll talk about.
We have to. Yeah, we're aware.
Yeah.
Right. But you try things, and then it really depends on the community that kind of like glom onto and gravitate to like, hey, this is cool.
Yeah.
And then once we saw that a lot of people were looking for something like that to do, you guys should know we do a flash mob every year, and here in San Diego, one of the challenges is for me to come up with something unique and different each year. And our San Diego geocachers have a great time, but the moment we get home, or even before we get home, we're already getting emails saying, when's the next flash mob?
Yeah.
Seriously. And there's people from in Europe or other followers that are saying, when's the next one? And so it's just kept going. Yeah.
It's funny too, because you don't think of, I mean, this is media, right? But it's not media like mainstream media, right?
Right,
So
right.
you don't think of it's going to influence parts of the game, which that obviously that flash mob and worldwide flash mob, that's a common thing that everybody knows, right? That's a thing that everybody in the game has heard of or knows or whatever. You don't think that it's going to have that influence or whatever, but so that was obviously one thing that went really well.
Yeah, it did.
And you kind of alluded to some things that didn't go well. That's what we want to hear. Like, what are your favorite accomplishments, and what are the ones that just like that did not? Because we have ours, and we can share all day long, but our people always know that.
People have heard ours.
They were there for them, right? But like, what's your like proudest accomplishment, but also what just really did not sail like you thought it was going to?
Well, okay, so let's start with would you want the accomplishments first or the things that,
you know what, it's your choice, because I know where we have ours, and some of them are good and some of them are not.
So I would have to say accomplishments is just producing a show every week, 52 shows per year for 20 years. I mean, because of that consistency, I think we've developed a community that's, bar none, just an amazing community around the world. We've Podcacher listeners have connected with each other through our show. So there's
really
this
cool
connection, but then and we have friends all around the world. I don't know what else you could do, like this, where we have friends in almost all English speaking countries that geocache, honestly, and a lot of them come out to San Diego. They visit. We get an opportunity to meet with the ones that we were able to. But friends all around the world, it's an amazing accomplishment.
It is.
So,
something you tried that didn't work, maybe.
Gosh. Okay. Well, actually, it was one of the things that I put a lot of work into, and it just didn't take off. And as podcasters, I was hoping to bring up more people who would be interested in doing like remote interviews for me, right? And so I was like, okay,
recording audio.
Yeah, recording audio, because we can't be everywhere, and so let's say there's people in Europe or attending an event that we couldn't attend. I was hoping to bring up more people who'd be interested in doing remote recording for us. So I thought, that's a great idea. So what do I need to do? I need to create some tutorials on how to interview well. Because not everybody is comfortable. I mean, you guys are veterans and you're behind the mic all the time, so you guys wouldn't fall into that. But there's a lot of people who are like, well, what's the equipment? How do I set the establishing tone of where I am? There's a lot of little things, little subtleties as far as like what we do when we go on the road and do an interview.
Yeah.
So I put a lot of work into this thing that we call the Podcacher Media Academy, and my intent was to tutor people on how to do audio, eventually video, and how to write like a blog.
Sure.
And I thought what I would do is just like establish this volunteer workforce out there that would be able to help bring in it, but that crashed and burned. And right now, if you want to go and learn more it's still out there. Yeah. If you want to learn more about how to record an interview, you can go to podcacher.com/PMA, Podcacher Media Academy.
It's still there.
It's still there. And there's like choice content that I took time to put together, but like it went nowhere. Perfect. And I'm like, and you wait. It's like you're casting, right? You're casting a fishing line or a net, and you're waiting for the bite, and it's like nothing, crickets.
Yeah.
And so that didn't quite go as well as I'd hoped. Maybe it'll take off.
It's probably something good for us to go and watch, because we could be a little more professional, so it'd work out well for us. But
this the first one is just all audio.
Yeah. Oh, okay, yeah. Well,
it would be like somebody at a site with a recorder to do that.
Yeah, no, that's it's you never know. You really never know what's going to take off, and you put a lot of effort into it, and we've been there too. And ours are boring stories or whatever. We want to hear your stories, but now luckily we've had a few, and you probably do too. And you don't want to put them out now. We've had a few that totally bombed, but the public never knew about it. And I'm like, we're just going to keep it there because that did not take off. And thank goodness, because that would have been a terrible idea. So,
Yeah, or so
and
Jeff
we're not going
think
to
nobody
bring them
noticed.
up now. No. We're not bringing those up now. But do you have, and I hate to ask you this because it's 900
No, ask
episodes. But first of all,
Ask it.
one question that came up, and then I'll ask that question. But so a lot of people brought up like the midweek shows and the 0.5 shows. Are you including that in the total 900?
Oh,
Actually, no.
No.
So you're well over that then.
So, yeah.
We're well over
that. Yeah.
When Sonny did the midweek micros, that was really early on. I mean, that was something that kind of died too.
Yeah.
Because it was, we thought, we'll just do a quick little midweek show and it'll be just short content. It was just too much to keep up. So
that's a hard ask. It really is. Y'all, that was a lot of work, and
It is.
people remember them. They're memorable, but it's a lot to ask to do those.
And then the map shows that we do just for our club members, those are counted differently. So even though this will be show 900, it's not the 900th show.
Right. There's much more back there.
Yeah.
For sure.
So we have to ask. This is like, what's your favorite child, right? But what is your favorite? And I would never ask that question, obviously. What is your favorite interview? Not fair. What is your favorite interview that you've ever done, or favorite show that you've ever done? Can you quantify that, or can you say this is our favorite show?
And are we going to exclude you and I, Jesse, because we've both been on?
Yeah, it doesn't count if one of us were on.
Oh, okay.
Well, you can't really pick.
That was we're gonna pick that.
I don't know if we can do that.
It isn't easy. We 20 years ago, a show every week. That's a lot of shows. I mean, that's like asking what was your favorite weekend for the last 20 years.
I mean, we've had a lot of, and maybe we'll talk about interviews a little bit later, but some of the shows I've really liked are our travel caching shows. When we've gone to places, and then we've put together, because we, of course, love to geocache, but we love to learn new things about locations and do history and, more like travel log. So a lot of our travel caching shows were more like that. When Sonny and I went to Europe before Sean was even born, or
Kazakhstan,
Norway,
France, Spain.
So those in general, I think, are some of my favorite.
So
interviews.
We'll be nice and we'll back off from favorite episode.
Okay.
Let's pull it back a little bit, because that wasn't fair anyway, right? We knew there was no fair answer to that.
Memorable.
What about your favorite types of episodes? Because you've done so many over the years, right? Like your travel and your interviews, and like ones about organizers of events and everything else. I've done so many types over the years. What are some of your favorite types of episodes that you've done?
Yeah, I would have to say it's the top two would be the travel, because well, as you guys know, when you go traveling, you don't have it planned out everything. There's some really delightful surprises that happen and traveling. And one of the great things about traveling and bringing our recorders, which, by the way, I wanted to show and tell more of my gadgets over here.
Oh yeah, please do.
Is the fact that we're able to get like the ambient atmosphere of wherever we were. Like when we were in France and we were near the bell towers, the Notre Dame, and we got that in the background. It's like, wow, that's something we can share with the world. Or getting sounds that we often do in San Diego of the ocean. But then interviews, because some of these people we've talked to are some of the most interesting people I've ever talked to. Geocaching or not. And so those are the two types, I think. I mean, I love bringing news and learning new things, but traveling and being able to bring our audience with us and have them experience some of the spontaneous things that we do, as well as the planned things.
Right.
And then the people we get to meet and interview, either live or over online.
Yeah. No, that is awesome. I mean, there's, and for y'all to keeping it fresh has been, is really a joy for us as an audience, because, we know, we understand. You know, some people are like, oh, you should do this, you should do that. It's like, okay, yeah, but there's a lot that goes into day in and not day in, but well, it is sort of day in and day out in some sense. But to put one in, it's one thing to do one like for a year or something.
Yeah.
Some podcasters are like, oh, we'll do one every other month or something. Do one a week.
Every week.
Yeah.
Yeah. And one of it's exactly what you just said, is to keep it fresh, to keep it interesting.
Yeah.
So that, because we have our kind of format where you bring in news, tips and tricks and things like that.
It's a variety show.
It's a variety show. But on a recent one, if you haven't heard it, we brought in the world famous geocaching poet, Theodosius. He was here in our studio. It was amazing.
Amazing. Yeah.
And so, we haven't had him on for a while.
Yeah.
That's funny.
But, yeah.
I love that you've kept some of the very early Sean audio that you'll use for either geocaching news or
That is so cool.
or so it's like, because people do, I mean, we talked about, Sean's growing up, and it's crazy to think about. Jesse mentions about, his kids are, he's about to be an empty nester next year.
Wow.
No, 3 months.
3
3
months.
months from now.
3 months.
Yeah, and my daughters grew up. We talked about before the show too, but my daughters, just like just much like Sean, have grown up in the world of geocaching, and not in the public eye like a celebrity, right? But in the public eye, in the sense of we go to events together, and that's a lot of our friends are. And you guys have really been in that, and so like if you go through, there's a few comments in here, but like micro shows, we talked about that, but like. I had the privilege of taking Sonny and Sandy down to the Eternal Flame Earth Cache, and it was a great adventure. 12 Days of Cachemas, like these are memories for people.
Yeah.
Leather Goofy, so many times I'm laughing out loud. These are memories for people. The map shows, and can I be a Jew?
Yes.
Yeah, we missed it that year.
These are
Woodstock,
like not only
Sean,
like you guys' family memories, but you shared those with people, and people remember those over the years, right? So they've kind of like, they feel like invested, right? Like you share that information, people feel invested. And like you mentioned earlier, and we've had that kind of experience too, where cachers have become friends not because of us, but because they had the commonality of, hey, we both listen to this show, we're going out doing fun things. And we're never even technically a part of it, right? They're just like, that's something common to bond over. And it's
right.
And y'all have been a big part of that for many, many, many years, which is amazing. But 900, it's not even 900 shows. Y'all are probably over 1,000 shows, to be honest, right? With all the map shows and everything else. So that's a huge part of geocaching, which is a huge part of a lot of people's lives over decades now. I mean, we're talking, geocache is 25 years old. So that's decades now. So you're coming up on that, and that's a big thing. It really is. It's no small accomplishment.
Yeah. Well, thank you. And that it's a two-way street. We also feel that connection with a lot of people who contacted us. And so the podcast started in 2005, and Sean came into our lives in 2008 on that Geo Woodstock. And so we weren't able to go. And just a very quick story, we immediately said we weren't able to go, and people were very concerned, like why we couldn't go.
Yeah, there was a problem.
And then soon enough, the entire geocaching world found out that we adopted Sean, and we got so much like positive feedback. At first they were concerned, and then they found out that we adopted Sean, and he had thousands of geocaching aunts and uncles, like all around the world, that were just congratulating us and writing us this and that, sending us like hand knit baby blankets, and I've lost count of. Seriously, so cool. It was touching, and like, wow, something like that happens. Usually, it's friends and family in your local area, right, or people. Yeah. But to have geocachers that we didn't know around the world just all of a sudden, come beside us and congratulate us, it's amazing. Now, conversely, we've also been touched by how our podcast has been able to help some people, and it's very touching. I'm not going to go into super detail, but everything from health issues to very personal things, and they've told us that both geocaching, going out and geocaching, as well as listening to our show, which we intentionally try to keep up, positive.
Positive,
They told us that geocaching in our show has helped them get through some of these deep struggles, and it's like, whoa, I never thought that effect would, ever happen. We're just an entertainment, but yeah.
But you're providing consistent, not only entertainment, right? But it's consistency and it's positive vibes and a story. And y'all are pretty open about things. You talk about family stuff and everything else. And that's what people need. And we say this all the time, but like I go to geocaching personally to get away from the weird things that are happening in the world.
Right?
Like,
for sure.
I don't want to hear about any of that. I want to go to geocaching, and I've praised Geocaching HQ many times for keeping politics and every kind of agendas out of it and everything else. And many of us go to geocaching to escape everything else. And it's our positive thing. And y'all are part of that community. Y'all are part of that positive over time, like stability of escapism, I guess, if you want to think about it that way.
Yeah. Well,
and that's something that also, I know you've, like you said, you've had feedback about, we've had emails from people who are like, not just geocaching, but the show is sort of a respite for them to get away from everything. And because we with y'all, same way, we don't talk about anything outside of, we don't talk about politics, religion, etc. We leave all that to somebody else.
Yeah.
But the fact that we do the show and we do stay in a positive, we don't really go down the, unless we're doing it for fun, but we don't hit the negative side of things.
No.
Right, John?
Yeah, not much. We all accept pizza. We know pizza's good, and all of it's good. And Sonny and I have bonded over pineapple pizza and pickle pizza.
There you go, brother.
Yeah.
What's funny about that,
Sonny? This yields me to a very important question on this one. Because just thinking advice for podcasters out there, we're talking about like all the great things you guys have done, but what advice would you give to somebody starting on their podcasting journey, especially in a niche area like geocaching? For example, Pizza Talk. Like for the Pizza Talk podcast,
we're not doing
starting out. What advice would you provide from all of your experience?
So, we've been asked this question a lot, actually. And I actually went and had, we have some tips and tricks that we wrote up that we've sent to many different people who've come from different directions.
How do I start a podcast?
About podcasting. And these are just a few of them. Think about your target audience as you correct your content and try to really focus your message on them.
Right.
Know that it's a lot of hard work and there's lots of podcasts, Sonny alluded to that they start really enthusiastically and then they just fade over time. Pod fade.
They run out of gas.
And that's not super encouraging, but it's realistic. And you really have to think about that before you start. And not that we did, we just kind of slid right into it.
We did the sliding method.
But if you have a passion for it, like for pizza, then that definitely helps. One practical thing is just record 3 or 4 episodes before you release any, just so that you have them already done. Figure out what are you doing daily, weekly, monthly? Like figure that out from the beginning so that because you want to be consistent from the get-go.
Yeah.
And then figure out, if you want to do like the production type of thing we do you want to have a live show like you do? Figure out what it is you want, but try to bring your unique spin to it. Because, anyone who wants to do a podcast, there's probably 100 people out there who already did it on that same topic, right?
Sure.
But you're unique. What's your unique take or your unique spin on whatever the topic is?
Yeah.
I think John's actually, I don't know if you're thinking about something. No, John, no.
Are you craving cheesy goodness? It's time for Pizza Talk. Whether you're at your local pizza parlor scarfing down gas station pizza, or
Yeah, you guys
That is
see,
awesome.
I put a lot of
Very
passion
hot.
into this. A lot of love,
Hot
a lot of
pizza
energy, a lot of
talk.
enthusiasm.
We can
No,
tell.
And I can't wait for Pizza Talk to happen one of these days.
You know, that's what podcasting shows you, though, is that any topic you came up with and did a podcast on, there's somebody else interested in it out there.
There is.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
really is. It's crazy. Like that. If you really drill down, there's some really niche topics out there that you're like, oh, there's other people that are actually interested in that. It's pretty crazy.
It is.
It is, and you know, it depends on what you pick. I know that there's people that have picked like different movie genres, and they just took off. Like I think there's one for the Harry Potter series, and that.
Oh
but
yeah.
Then,
Yeah.
But then once that fades, then you know your topic is kind of done.
Yeah.
You know, there's sports podcasts. I listen to one that has to do with bass players because I play the bass.
Nice.
Yeah. There's a lot of podcasts out there.
There are a lot, and I have an eclectic taste, and I'm not going to like list mine on here because they're weird. But there's some really weird niche podcasts out there you can listen to, and including like bad sci-fi movies. That's a podcast series. I mean, there's more than one. In fact, and like of terrible sci-fi. Anything you can think, it's there. Yeah. And if you know, I would say to tag on to what they're saying. If you're interested in enough in a topic to think about making a podcast, there's probably other people interested in it too.
Yeah. I think one thing I would say is, you know, and we say this on the show all the time, engage your audience, because having a one-way monologue, just going that way where you don't have people like you guys have is great here where, you know, we're getting the chat. I mean, that's terrific. Yeah. That's live, you know, and we don't have that. So that's a huge advantage you guys have. So yeah, the ability to engage and connect with your audience is big. If it's asynchronous or if it's synchronous like you guys, I think that really builds that community. So you guys are doing things right.
It's been fun to not just, you know, different over the years, not just at 14er, which was, you know, my first big fanboy experience, but it was fun seeing people, because we don't do it enough, and hopefully maybe in the future we can do more. But when we were all at Gigastock in Cincinnati, they asked us if we all could get, you know, basically all our tables together, and it was like perfect. And people would walk up, they're like, oh my gosh, I listened to Geocache Talk, I listened to Sonny and Sandy, and I listened to there's Daryl, and there's, you know, it was like, you know, all these awesome. Yeah. And so, but it was like they were geeking out in the fact that we all were together. You know, it's like, you know, we don't necessarily interact all the time, but we're friends and we see each other. And so I know there were people who are like, I'm just so excited to see you, but also that you're staying next to Sonny and Sandy. It's like, yes, it's you know, and so for them,
we're just as excited. So
we are too. I remember I ran into Mark Webb. He was like, I don't know, he's like 16 or something at the time, I think, maybe a little older, maybe he was 18, but a young man who had it together. And, you know, he and I spent quite a bit of time just talking at the booth, and it was just, and again, it was fun having everybody together. But look at it now, several years later, and now he is, you know, running GeoWoodstock for Morgantown in West Virginia. And, you know, we've had him on the show now recently, you know, a few times just to help support that. But it's fun to see, you know, that these things are out there that we've all kind of been able to be a part of. And yeah, we actually, John, I know I shouldn't tell you this. I don't know why I'm telling you this, but we did have an after Gigastock media party, and we went and ate pizza. Do y'all remember that? We went and ate pizza together and it was like, oh my gosh. So John, there you go.
Oh man, was it high altitude mountain pizza, Gary?
No, No, we were in Cincinnati. This was not.
Okay, Cincinnati
not-
pizza.
The Giga stock, the fake Giga
Gotcha.
stock,
Gotcha.
fake news stuff again. We're talking about.
Yeah, the one that Jesse doesn't think happened, but it did happen.
Yes, I've never attended a Giga. Let's get over it. Let's move on.
No. Okay.
No, they keep happening. They keep occurring when I have family events, and as y'all know, family events come first, obviously, 100%. So, they keep occurring during those times, like the date and time of. So, it is what it is. One day I'll go to a Giga. One day, but,
yeah.
You know,
I'll FaceTime you in this year, Jesse.
Yeah. Thanks, buddy. That's gonna help a lot. I'm gonna feel great for that.
I had one more question. I know we're starting to get to the end to wrap up, but I noticed somebody in the chat room, and it made me think of it. But Keith's in the chat room. He has only learned Sonny was a rock star last week, and that Sean was adopted today. Yeah, you just found that out.
Oh, gosh, we've talked to Keith. We have great relationship with him many times.
So that's something.
surprised.
Go ahead, Sonny. I was going to ask you though about because I got a big stack of FTF magazines, and you have been.
How many times have you guys been in that magazine? Come on.
Have you ever counted?
We write an article, so every time.
We write a regular column.
Years, right? Like it's been a long time.
Yeah.
It has been. I don't even know how many.
How long have y'all been doing that? Writing that article?
In a long time.
Many years.
Many years. Yeah. I don't know how far back you'd have to go to find one that we weren't writing.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah. Well, you know, that's a very symbiotic relationship that we have with Keith and FTF Magazine, because we're more than happy to provide him with content, right? And then occasionally on our show, if you've heard, in one way that we want people to know that FTF Magazine is a great resource out there, is we'll show some of the articles or read some of the articles on our show. And so it's a great, like I said, symbiotic relationship. But I didn't know that Keith didn't know that, number one, Sean was adopted, and number two, I am a rock star.
You are a rock star.
No, we just because
first gig. Guys.
Yeah, I know.
First gig.
It's first gig with this band.
Well, it does too.
Yeah. I just a new band that I'm playing with. I play the bass for. We played out in Oceanside, and so I posted it on Facebook, and I was just getting all sorts of feedback on there. But it's fun stuff.
Yeah. So that's another big thing was just y'all being an FTF forever is, and that forever. Takes time. It takes time and effort.
Oh, gosh, every bit of it.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And again, it's all about providing value, right? It flows like being able to share stuff, because it's a big world out there, geocaching world, and so
it's a tremendous value. Go ahead.
Yeah, and like y'all are probably how I found out about FTF Magazine, from the beginning, obviously. But like, it's such an awakening, and I love getting to tell people, not on the show, but like in person, like, there's podcasts out there for this. You run into somebody that's a geocacher and they don't know everything about it, and you're like, hey, there's podcasts out there about it too, and obviously you shamelessly plug your own, but I plug them all, right? But and like, oh yeah, there's also a magazine. They're like, what? There's a magazine? And you're like,
right.
Yeah, it's been around for a long time. There's even movies and music and everything, and they're like, oh my gosh.
Videos,
it's so much fun to introduce people to that whole world, like newer geocachers to that, and you get to do that all the time. It's a lot of fun.
It's kind of like you have now taken the red pill. You have seen.
Yeah, I know. Right? I wasn't going to make that reference, but you did it. So
opened up a whole new world to them.
Yes,
absolutely. Yeah.
So
all of a sudden, everything's a geocache.
Does Sonny still do the transition music for the show?
I would say some of the old music that I created. Okay, and I created it by hand in GarageBand with my instruments and creating the separate tracks is still being used. Yes.
Yeah.
But what I found was I wanted a higher variety. And so I have a whole bunch of tracks that I still haven't used. I might bring them back but they were all created by hand. I'd play the guitar, then the drums, and then I'd play the, different instruments. So the ukulele is one of the ones that I put together myself.
Daryl's asking if there's a ukulele bass.
There is. Yeah. It's called the U bass. Actually, look it up, and it's a small ukulele bass.
There you go, Daryl.
Yeah.
Yep.
And Sonny, did you write the intro music as well too to Podcaster?
The intro music right now, yes, I wrote that.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay.
Yeah,
Very cool.
That is awesome. That was way before the days of just going to some website and pulling down a bunch of royalty-free music and going,
Right.
done.
Yeah. No, you guys have inspired. Maybe for an upcoming show, I will use only my my background music. Yeah, so we'll see.
That's cool.
Oh, and
So-
Nick's on from New Jersey. Nick's asking if you still play the.
Yes,
We do.
actually, somebody in my band came over and we were talking about other things, and he came to my house and he saw my collection of didgeridoos in the living room, and so I played it for him for the first time. And I got to tell you, I really enjoy the sort of like shock and awe that they have on their face. Because if you hear a didgeridoo when I play it live, it's thunderous. Yeah, it's good. But I've got several didgeridoos. Yes, I still play the didgeridoo.
That's awesome.
So now considering 900 episodes, since 2006, that's a long time.
Yeah.
And considering there's now a considerable number of people that were born after your first episode that are playing the game. It just is what it is, right? Like, that's a whole different world for them, right? Like they were born into Podcacher. Like they did not exist before Podcacher, but they're grown people now playing the game who may even have kids. So 900, obviously y'all have actually done more than 900. We know that. We're celebrating 900, but y'all have done more than 900.
Yeah.
You're going to think about 1,000 coming up or whatever. What do you see for the future of Podcacher? And I know that's spoilers. Go ahead. It's okay. Nobody's listening. Tell us any spoilers you want to tell us. It's
Nobody's
okay.
on.
This is just us four talking, us five talking. It's no big deal. So anything that you're really looking forward to in the future, or what do you any ideas that you want to spill?
Well, first of all, from 900 to 1,000 is like 2 years or something, right? Because it's one a week, 52 weeks a year.
You'll be there. We know you'll all be there.
We will. We will be there. I don't think. I mean, we've got a couple ideas that that are on that whiteboard, and if you could
the secret whiteboard.
Can you swing around? Swing that around.
Go
for a little bit.
Then
there's out there. Just swing it around, Sonny. Just pull it.
Yeah. No, we do have some things that in the works, but I mean, the impact is when we finally introduce it. But I think a lot of it is just things that happen to come to us from other people. We want to keep focusing on quality, creativity, good production. I mean, that's the hallmark of our podcast. We want to make sure that it's always entertaining, informative, and inspirational.
Yeah.
We like to add new segments. That's one of the things I'll do. I'll come up with like, oh, we ought to do this segment. See how much feedback we get if it catches on.
Yeah.
Or get creative. I mean, Sonny's the creative idea guy. So
yeah. And then
and then I'm the practical one.
Yeah, no, she is.
Well, that might
Sandy
not
has
work,
to reel it in.
Right.
This is how it really is, both in our marriage and just podcaster, right? I'm like, oh, we ought to do this thing and this other thing, and then she's like, honey, hold on, okay. Do you realize what that means? Is this will happen? This will happen. Like, well, okay. And when we put a show together, oftentimes I'll come up, and then if we both get to the point where like we can execute, whatever that idea is, if she says, okay, if we do this and this and this, when we can execute it, I'm like, okay, maybe a few changes in it, and that's how it actually comes to fruition, but it takes that balance between my like spontaneous creativity and her sensibility to pull me back and say, all right, let's let's think about this.
Well, anything that's valuable needs a Sandy, a glue.
Oh yeah. Is it scalable?
Yes.
Can it actually work?
Yeah.
Yes.
Because sometimes we've made the mistake of listening to only me, and then what happens is like we try to do a contest or something, and then the amount of work in order to execute it was more than we.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
You guys know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, we've been there.
Oh yeah, we've.
Yeah, it's like, oh no, not that again. So,
The problem is John has been a co-host now for how long have you been on? You think now, John? About a year?
Yeah, a year or two.
Not quite.
Somewhere
About a
around
year?
there, yeah.
So John is kind of our glue because what happens is that Jesse's a wild man, and he wants to do the craziest things in the world, and I don't really have any way to stop him. So I need John to come along and go, wait a minute, we really can't do that. And then be like, oh yeah, I guess you're right. So like, see, I told you, Jesse, we can't do that. Although he's like, you didn't stop me. What, you didn't say anything before that. Why are you now on John's side? So
well, and the thing is, all the crazy ideas we throw out on a daily basis on there too.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Which is cool because sometimes you figure like that stuff, that spark happens and it catches and it's like, yeah,
Some
let's
things
do
work.
it. And there's other times where it's like,
Yeah.
I was gonna say, and I mean, one thing we focus a lot on is what else we can do for our Podcacher Club members, which you probably guys do with your Patreon. I mean, they're the backbone of both of our shows. So that's one thing that we're constantly looking at. What else
value?
What else?
Yes.
We can provide for them.
But on that note, it's like there's a lot of logistics that, for instance, the cost of shipping.
Yes.
Right. So if it was
Overseas.
small scale, then the cost of shipping's like, okay, we can bite that. But when you talk about thousands and thousands, then it becomes something that's not necessarily scalable.
Yeah.
And especially like overseas,
Yep.
Yeah.
So that's the kind of like logistic that you have to.
Yeah.
When you're dealing with thousands and thousands of whatever.
Yes.
Yeah. So
it adds up quick.
No, it does. And we're constantly asking ourselves that question, like, what can we give back? Right. Not just to our community, like our member community, but to the game as a whole. And, because the game has given us so much, like obviously all of us, right? Our families are all involved in it. And we've so many joys and everything else over the years. What can we give back to the community? And that's where our biggest ideas have come from. And also some of our ideas that were totally impossible have come from, right? Like, oh, we should do this. And then we're like, we can't do anything on that scale. That is not going to happen.
We're not at that point.
The few that make it through, like Worldwide Cache Con and, during COVID and the Cache Odyssey and things like that, we've been able to get through. Those worked. But there's also those ones where you do the spaghetti at the wall and some of them just don't stick. They just fall to the floor, right? We just don't have, we're not real media. We don't have a team of people to produce things. And while we always want to give something back to the community, there's only so much you can do, and constantly giving that back like y'all have done over the years, and just like the flash mob. How many people did you bring joy to for that? People love that, right? That's just one thing over 900 episodes and more than that really over the years that y'all done. And that's a positive impact. But, can you do that forever? You cannot maintain it. It's just not possible, right?
Yeah, and you learn. I mean, we've learned what's scalable, what we can do, what we can handle, and what eventually, like you said, we don't have staff. So there's only so much that we can do. But we've learned a lot doing this. Not only how to, to organize remotely, but also how to ourselves to be able to just how to work together.
Yeah.
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 Now, y'all get your monthly checks from Geocaching HQ, right? I mean, we get like thousands of dollars a month.
Wait a minute.
Wait, did they cut you off? What's going on?
Yeah. What? I thought y'all got like hundreds of thousands a month. What are you talking about?
Yeah, we need to talk about
that would be awesome.
No, y'all have, and we always say on this show too, that like, and I know me personally, and we all say like, we'll never be able to give enough back to the geocaching community that we've gotten out of it personally and as a group, right? And you guys are part of that as well. And I feel like y'all feel the same way. Like y'all have gotten a lot out of it. You've shared a lot of it with your family and everything else. And you've done it for a long time. And you don't have to do any of this. You guys have not 900 of those episodes you were not required to do to be a geocacher, right? Like none of those things were required, but y'all actually gave a lot to the community and a lot of your personal time. And we've heard it over the years, y'all, a lot of things y'all have gone through and stuff. And it's a normal part of everybody's life, but you didn't have to do any of that. So, I mean, kudos to you guys for continuing to give something to the community for so long. that you didn't have to. You could just go. Geocaching is a free hobby, right? Isn't that what they say?
Yeah,
That's what they say.
That's what they say.
Yeah, it's the most expensive free hobby I've ever had. But,
Foolish people.
Kudos to you guys for
Thank you.
giving all you have to the community over all this time. And when you don't have to do that, you could just as easily have it be a private hobby and sport for yourself and not be anything else. So
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
And I want to echo Jesse, because with geocaching being such a community game, it's like you're learning from so many others in the community, and like your podcast has been so instrumental in helping so many geocachers get up and running into geocaching. Because sometimes geocachers, they go out, they're not going to events, they're listening to podcasts and saying like, how does this game work? What is an LPC? What are these other things that I'm hearing of? And me personally, thank you guys for that, because when I was starting out, like a lot of these podcasts really helped me quite a bit, including Podcacher. So, from the bottom of my heart, I just want to say I really appreciate everything you guys have done.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. I'll say a couple things. Then Sonny and Sandy, if y'all want to say okay. I lost y'all there for a second. That was weird.
Yeah.
Okay. I just want to say, from for me, and I was a listener back before 14er, but I was able to, get y'all, meet y'all, and really, in many ways, Podcacher is, they can definitely put on their list as far as podcasts that have begun because of them is Geocache Talk, the Geocache Talk Network. It really was that was really it was the impetus for Cache and Release, which I was on for a very short time. That show didn't last too long, but with y'all and Daryl, because Daryl W4 sort of helped me with the technical side. So between Daryl W4 and you guys, you basically have spawned our network. And so, y'all's, friendship over the years has been wonderful, and it's so great to see y'all when we can. It's something I mentioned, from time to time when I see people at events, and I try to do it more now than, more than ever. And that is stopping people and talking to them and just thanking them for being able to, we get to be together for a little bit of time, and sometimes we just we overlook that. Like, oh, here we are together. And it's like, well, that doesn't happen all the time. So we want to sort of cherish those moments when we are together and seeing listeners and, watchers of the show. And so, again, I wanted to thank you guys. And when I, heard about this coming up, I was like, I really want to have Sonny and Sandy on, and I want to do it before the 900. We could obviously have done it after, but I want to do it before. It was 3 weeks, right? It's gonna be in 3 weeks. Is that right?
March 15th.
17th.
Okay.
Is it 17th?
15th is the event.
Oh, 15th is the event. 17th is the show. Yeah.
So 900 comes out. Yeah, because you just did 897, right?
Right. Tonight's 898, I think.
Yeah, we still got to put together that show together.
Yeah.
After this, then we got to go do our show.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So anyway, so let y'all do that. But so as we wrap up, again, thank you so much. It's been wonderful. Love you too, and everything you've done over the years, and keep in touch with us, and whatever we can do to help support you guys, we're always here to help. So
excellent.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us. Yeah. It is a community, and it's a two-way street. We get a lot ourselves. We take joy and be able to just share our passion and connect with people who are like-minded. And so we get a lot out of it as well. But thank you so much for allowing us to be able to chat with you guys. We'll have to find a time when we can all connect at some live events somewhere, wherever that may be. But thank you again.
John and I will be in Morgantown. I know Jesse will not, but are y'all going to go to Morgantown, or
we're not able to this year?
Not able to go. Okay.
No.
Well, we will meet up at some point
soon, somewhere soon.
And again, thank you too. So, all right. Well, we're going to say goodnight, and thanks everybody. And we got a couple shows we want to mention real quick as we're wrapping up that are coming up. John, do you want to mention the upcoming shows that we're going to have?
Yeah, thank you, Gary. Yeah, we got a lot of good shows coming up. And speaking of Morgantown, Puzzle Talk on Tuesday. It's going to be all about puzzles of Morgantown, West Virginia. So if you're thinking about going to Gigastock or already have the plans on that and want to know about the puzzles that are out there and around the area, join Charles and Tom this Tuesday. On next week's show for Geocache Talk, we're going to have Surviving the Edge, K-Blast Near Miss. So that's next Sunday at 7 p.m. Central on that one. And I got to tell you, like, I talked to K-Blast on this one just a week or two after it happened. I saw like the bruises and the abrasions that he had and heard the stories. And like, that is going to be like such an intense episode. And another great show coming up too that we're going to have on March 11th is a dorm challenge strategies with R. Reagan on Challenge Talk. So Emily and Tim are going to be talking with R. Reagan. So a lot of really cool shows coming up for sure.
Yeah. Thanks, John. And thank you too. Keep in touch. We'll see. And we're looking forward to hearing 900 and all the shows, but 900 will be fun. So, all right. Good night, everybody.
Hey, good night.
May your finds be many and your DNFs be few. May the terrain and difficulty both be less than 2. And whatever it is you're looking for, may it find its way to you. And may we all meet again.
Folks, we hope you've enjoyed the show tonight. Please email us your comment at geocachetalk@gmail.com. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. The show can be found on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Radio Public, or Spotify, as well as at the Geocache Talk website. Don't forget to click that subscribe button below and ring that bell notification so that you can see and hear the show on a weekly basis. And tell your friends about the show. Get them involved with us in the chat room. And until next week, don't just talk about geocaching, go geocaching.